Hey everyone, my name's Austin and I'm a senior chemistry major at Whitman College. One of the coolest things about chemistry is that we're able to see transformations happen right before our eyes. In this experiment, we're going to be doing just that using yeast to cause a whole bunch of gas to be released from hydrogen peroxide. So for this experiment, we're going to need just a couple things that you can probably find at home. You're going to need some active dry yeast, some hydrogen peroxide. You probably have that in your first aid kit. 3% is just fine. That's what it's typically sold at. And just a splash of dish soap. Food coloring helps, but that's optional. So we're going to start by pouring a half cup of hydrogen peroxide into our beaker. That's going to be about 100 milliliters. There we go. Next, we're going to put in just a splash of dish soap. There we go. And we're going to put in a drop of food coloring. Just like that. And we're going to mix this all around. Just give it a little bit of swirling. In a separate container, you're going to want to take about 3 tablespoons of very warm water and add to that 1 tablespoon of your yeast. We'll want to mix that around just until it dissolves. It won't dissolve completely, but that's perfectly fine. Once you have your mixture, you're just going to want to pour these together and see what happens. Look at that. Hydrogen peroxide naturally breaks down all by itself, and when it does that, it breaks into oxygen gas and water. All that we're doing in this experiment is using a compound in the yeast to speed up that process. What we're having happen is when the yeast comes in contact with the hydrogen peroxide, it releases all that oxygen really quickly. If we didn't have any dish soap in there, all that oxygen would just escape. But instead, we add the dish soap, which causes all of that oxygen to get trapped, and that's why we see it get all bubbly. Cool, so we're all cleaned up. The important part is that when the hydrogen peroxide is being broken up by the yeast, it's actually releasing more energy every time it breaks than it actually takes to break it apart, which is why it heats up. Experiments that heat up when we run them are called exothermic reactions. This is one type of exothermic reaction.